Warhammer time together. Welcome everybody to the Warhammer preview online. Faith and Damnation. We'll see
Ça commence, guys.
after this.
Ok. Ok. Empire Lord. Ouh. Oh, les nouveaux zombies. Nice. Fellbats. Vampires, guys. Oh. Ok, non, ça on l'a vu. Blood Knights. Ouh. Blood Knights. Hot damn.
What a reveal. I saw the chat going wild just before we went sort of into the full thing.
Hot damn, enfin.
Soulblight Vampires, Eddie, they asked, it's been delivered.
Yes, this is the Soulblight Gravelords. We had a hint of some of these
Ooh,
things
le Battle Tome.
with the things that we've seen on the way from Warhammer Quest Cursed City, which is imminent in any second now. That will be landing, but hot on the heels of Cursed City is the Soulblight Gravelords full army, including a new battle tome, including loads of new units. Lots of things that Death players have been asking for pretty much since the birth of Age of Sigmar, even longer in places. So a lot of those kind of like, wow,
nice.
They get around to this. Boxes of
Très
kits,
cool.
Multi-part plastic kits, absolutely glorious,
Ooh.
full detailed, and I think probably the most exciting of the new kits that's coming up, and probably the most requested, are the Blood Knights. Absolutely incredible, super heavy undead cavalry unit of vampires.
Yeah, I mean, Blood Knights have sort of occupied a space in the heart of the sort of undead collectors of Warhammer for quite some time.
Les Blood Knights sont du
style. Was one of the nastiest, hardest hitting sort of heavy cavalry.
Called it!
Across any of the incarnations of Warhammer. But these do promise to be a genuine...
J'ai hâte de revoir les zombies aussi.
Yeah, I've got memories of facing off against Blood Knights towards the latter days of Warhammer Fantasy Battle. I just remember my units being completely steamrolled by just like 2 or 3 of these guys.
L'armée de mort, j'en ai depuis longtemps, oui.
The reason they're so completely deadly is that every single one of these is effectively a full-on Soulblight Gravelords vampire. So they are immortal warriors, which are probably hundreds, if not thousands of years old. The strength given to them by the unholy vampire curse, the power of Nagash flowing through their veins, mounted on kind of enormous skeletal nightmare steeds, and lots of kind of hints and things in there to some of the older models, so things like the blood dragons. If you look at the things like the banner, there's lots of hints towards that ancient bloodline. There's a really lovely shot of it there. Kind of, the bloody
les chevaux sont rendus en squelette versus les nightmares d'avant. Ouais, c'est vrai.
They're exactly what I would have wanted to see from a blood dragon, a blood knight.
Yeah, and if the chat is anything to go by, I think we're probably not alone. Of course, this wasn't the only thing we saw in that video, which is worth a quick look at. This is the thing that got me excited when I saw that video yesterday afternoon.
The Skeleton Warriors.
New Death Rattle skeletons is, for me, very exciting because I love the idea of just huge ranks of skeletal warriors of silently marching.
Ils sont rendus en armure.
Clank of, metal armor and the grinding of bones. And these guys are just awesome.
Yeah, a really, really awesome kit, and I think every time I see...
il me semble qu'il y a encore de la viande et... il me semble qu'il y a encore de la viande sur les pattes et dans le cou. Ça se peut que ce soit des zombies, chevaux, peut-être un peu plus. Squelettes, tu sais, on voit encore de la chair, peut-être c'est des zombies.
Absolutely.
They'll sit really nicely alongside the Cursed City skeletons.
Les détails sont juste les squelettes.
When you have a skeleton force for death, they definitely aren't elite troops.
Ouais, est-ce qu'ils...
the core battle line infantry of your armies.
Ouais, c'est ça, il va falloir en peinturer beaucoup, ça.
50 these guys marching in lockstep, kind of shambling forwards with those kind of vague memories of warriorship that they have, clutching their ancient weapons and ancestral shields.
Nice.
But beautiful models, and a really interesting sort of historic aesthetic as well. Not quite like maybe the Death Rattle skeletons we've seen before, much more of a unique Age of Sigmar sort of feel to them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's worth adding. You'll have the options within this kit as well to do hand weapons or spears, so you can have your unit ready to go close, or you know, the slightly
a little bit further away
to hit chances with your swords, or give them the pokey poke distance. Of course, they weren't the only horde infantry unit that we were presenting.
Zombies.
We have more Deadwalker zombies as well. You have a pun you want to deliver. I'm not going to steal your thunder, but these are the just grimmest looking zombies I think we've seen so far. They continue that aesthetic that we saw in the Cursed City teasers and things that we've seen, and they just continue it, and it's unpleasant.
Yeah, they're a very, a very shambling.
Les zombies pas de pierre tombale, ouais, ben, j'haïs pas les zombies pierre tombale, mais j'aurais pas pris une unité full zombie pierre tombale sur le dos. Mais juste un ou deux comme ça dans le unit, je trouve ça parfait. Je trouve ça parfait. Honnêtement, là.
So just a really fun unit, and also one again that's been asked for a very long time. The zombie miniatures that you can buy.
Zombies sont... Puis il était temps qu'ils refassent le kit, là. Le kit de zombies est tellement vieux.
20 odd years, I think, at this point. So certainly due an update, and this is a really wonderful update to see.
Yeah, and Notley in the chat has got straight to it. The one on the bottom left does want to ask you a question.
Il y en a un avec le cerveau qui sort.
It's just the way that the axe is.
Ah oui, ici.
And there's one on the top right who's carrying. What's that about?
There's definitely a rat sort of theme, isn't there, throughout some of the death range we're seeing for the Soulblight Gravelords. That kind of idea of wild bestial animals kind of gnawing at them. Speaking of which,
Fellbats.
These are so lovely. What a wonderful reinvention of a classic part of the Warhammer Undead offer.
Yeah, so Fellbat's been part of the Vampire Army previously, and then the Soulblights for basically as long as there's been a Vampire force in Warhammer. But we haven't really ever had miniatures that maybe did justice to the concept of these kind of enormous, great, you know, bigger than the biggest eagle you've ever seen monsters that are going to swoop down and pick up men and fly off with them to drain their blood in some horrible cave somewhere. They are genuinely terrors from the night. And I think these capture that really well. I love the one that's kind of poised as well, because it looks so awkward, just sort of sitting, kind of crouching on the rock. It doesn't look like it seems just it's like it's clearly about to pounce, but it's got a sort of weird, deathly awkwardness to it, where its limbs are not quite the right shape. They look a bit inhuman, because obviously it is just a big bat.
Yeah, no kidding. Shout out to whoever it was in the chat. Sorry, I missed your name. Somebody said the paint jobs on the wings is tight, and they're not wrong. The heavy metal team just continue to blow me away with the sort of masterful way in which they bring the miniatures to life. Yeah, and in terms of the feet look the wrong way around, I think everything about these looked a bit wrong. DSX, they are horrific undead nightmare creatures, and so it probably should be a bit disturbing.
Yeah. I mean, they probably hang upside down, right? That's kind of how bats work. They have little humany feet that
nice.
Cling onto gargoyles and raptors.
Ils vont-tu remonter la Vampire Lord aux cheveux orange?
You can kind of imagine them kind of curled up.
Le ou la, je sais pas. Je voulais pas la genrer.
Ready to slake their insatiable thirst. And this is the cover for the battle tome that that deals with all these great new models. We had a bit of a sort of a geek out on this before we went live. This is
cheveux de feu. Thanks Silent Usher avec le resub.
What it must be like to face the,
ouais, le nouveau Zombie Dragon. Est-ce que c'est ça qui s'en vient?
I absolutely love it. I think it's my favourite battle tome cover of Age of Sigmar so far, and that's saying something, because there've been some absolute doozies. The Idoneth Deepkin one, I think, is probably my favourite up to this point, but everything about it's just perfect. It's like exactly how I imagined the Soulblights would be. You've got the kind of shambling ranks of the skeletons. You've got the even more shambling and rotting ranks with the kind of flies and stuff buzzing around them, and that kind of half-dead direwolf you can see behind him. And then the vampire himself looks sort of noble. Standing in his kind of crimson blood red armor.
Direwolf aussi, ouais.
Yeah, sort of no, but you know, he's definitely the boss, right? And he kind of
yeah, there's an air of regality to him. It's, you know, the aristocracy of the night, I suppose. There's just oh, there you go. I'm going to describe it as somebody in the chat just did. This is fantastic artwork.
Fantastic.
I like it when you help me out with the puns. They're just something really good.
Nice. Ouais, est-ce qu'ils vont refaire le kit du Zombie Dragon? Ou un nouveau kit carrément? La question demeure, va-t-on pouvoir mixer avec les Night Hunt? En allié, très certainement, mais mixer comme tu le penses, là, style Légion of Nagash, je sais pas. Je sais pas, hein. Cool. Votre modèle préféré qu'on a vu à date? Moi, je pense que les Blood Knights sont vraiment très cool. Death est moins mon armée, là. Mais Blood Knights sont vraiment sa coche. Zombie pour Matt, zombie pour Silent Usher. C'est vrai que les zombies, ça fait du bien d'avoir des beaux zombies en plastique, là. Très cool. Oh! Next up! Next up! Ouh!
I was buried in the mountain, trapped under the rock. I have escaped my prison, but my people are gone.
Piece of Chaos? What the fuck? C'est quoi ça? Kragnos, c'est qui ça?
So there we are with another tease of the ongoing Broken Realms series. Eddie, what can you tell us?
Well, so right now, Adam, there's not a huge amount more we can tell you about that, but I think there's some tantalizing stuff in there already. So this is a future hint at some of the things that might be coming for Broken Realms, and there's a title called Kragnos. So this is a name I don't think we've heard before.
Un nouveau héros, carrément? Ça ressemblait à un Dragon Ogre, right?
Realms for Age of Sigmar, and generally, when big stuff comes for Warhammer, it's usually bad news for some or all involved. But plenty of good news in there for lots of hobbyists and some cool stuff on the way.
I think what's interesting when you look at what we've seen for the Broken Realms series so far.
Ou un gros Kurnotti?
The names involved are major players. These are powerful.
Peut-être aussi, ouais, un gros Kurnotti.
Characters. And Kragnos is new, and I'm excited to see what that is. You can see the chat taking some wild guesses. Some much further from the truth than others have a little bit of insight into this, and we're not going to give too much away at this point. We'll help you see the unfolding journey.
Orion, je sais pas c'est quoi Orion.
The release of Broken Realms Kragnos. Eddie, we probably should touch on Broken Realms tech list as well, right?
Yeah, so just to give people a bit of a recap on Broken Realms.
Oh my god.
An ongoing narrative, the big ongoing narrative in Warhammer Age of Sigmar right now.
On sait même pas quand est-ce que Broken Realms tech list sort, puis on sait déjà le 4e Broken Realms.
Life and death power in the realms into himself basically and ascend to be the ultimate force.
C'est un caractère de Warhammer Fantasy Battle, c'est un genre de demi-dieu des Wood Elves. Mais là son nom aurait changé. Ils ont dit Kragnos.
While all this has been going on, has made a play for Godhood herself and to kind of overtake some of the cities within the mortal realm.
Mais je suis all for une Kurnotti, une armée Kurnotti. Fine, bring it, ça a l'air très très cool.
Now, we've obviously had some disruption to schedules and things over the past few weeks and months, but the news we can share with you today is that Broken Realms tech list will be available for pre-order next weekend. So if you've been waiting eagerly for Techless and all of his Lumineth buddies to show up,
Techless!
You won't have to wait too much longer.
Next week!
The next installment after that we know is Broken Realms Be'lakor, which we've hinted at as well. So we've seen the miniature, which is absolutely jaw-droppingly incredible. So I'm particularly excited about him. He's got use in both Warhammer 40,000 and Warhammer Sigmar.
I have a pretty meaty demon army, and I'm very excited.
Yeah, I think he'd look great, you know, leading an army of maybe like grey or black-clad Space Marines with like a dead.
Pre-order next week.
On the base,
okay.
Like that's what's in my head currently anyway for the color scheme.
Pour Techless.
But we know that he's coming. He's a huge player in the old world and in Warhammer 40,000. We haven't really seen him show up in the Mortal Realms yet, so it'll be interesting to see what he's up to. It's probably nothing good. And then off the back of him, we have Kragnos, which at the moment is just.
Fait que Techless la semaine prochaine en pre-order. Après ça Be'lakor. Après ça Kragnos.
some people aren't too far away and some people are miles off. And I'm not going to tell you who is who. I like it. Of course, we are not done with our time here in the Mortal Realms. There is still Warhammer 40,000 and some Necromunda to come. We have one more sort of Warhammer Age of Sigmar-centric topic to come with this reveal right here.
OBR? Yep. Oh. Nice. Canaan's Reapers.
They've done it again every single time.
Yes, la Skills Lord, il est gros. Il est gros.
Warband revealed. It blows up with how awesome these models are. Eddie, what can you tell us about what we just saw? Here we go.
Yeah, so this is the Ossiarch Bone Reapers warband for Warhammer Underworlds. This is Canaan's.
Le reste me paraît so-so, ouais. L'archer est cool. Le genre de... C'est-tu un priest? Ça va-tu être un genre de magicien ici?
Of the silent people, but they're several millennia too late and all the silent people are gone. So, you know,
à part le gros, il n'y a rien de très original. Je suis d'accord. Je m'attendais à quelque chose de plus cool.
There's lots of bones very helpfully in the bodies of the other warbands, so they're going to be going around trying to you know, make sure.
Ouais, le Lord va le show clairement.
The tide is collected, even if that means extracting.
Le reste, c'est des morteks.
Calcium-based.
Malheureusement.
Yeah, no kidding. I think there's something nice about I've looked in, not in great detail, but a little bit into how this warband plays, and of course, as you might expect, as that tithe mounts, they inspire. So by taking enemy fighters out of action, they begin to inspire. But the thing I think everybody in the chat has commented on, and I definitely feel, is that Mir Kanan, who is the enormous fella in the middle, is just the end of level boss to your worst nightmare. He's
yes, so I think all the miniatures in there are really cool, they're really interesting, and actually what the rest of the miniatures do is they give you like a...
Ouais, honnêtement, un peu déçu. C'est un gros lord très très cool, avec 5 dudes, 5 morteks. 3 morteks qui sont très très basic. Un archer qui se départit un peu plus, puis l'autre dude, je sais pas si... C'est-tu un mini-héros? C'est-tu un magicien? Ou je sais pas.
Just that model alone is like one of the most impressive character kits of recent years. I think we have a lot of people wanting to paint that up really nicely for display.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether it's the sort of apron of stitched.
Ouais, c'est ça. Éventuellement, ils vont probablement avoir une unit d'archer. Clairement, une unit d'archer pour OBR.
I work with a fellow called Adam, so two Adams is never too many. And he was super excited about the Bone Reaper with the bow and arrow. He has quite a large Ossiarch Bone Reaper's army. And he was super psyched there'd be an archer in this team.
Ça change pas que le fait que le Mir Kanan, le Bone Daddy est vraiment vraiment sa coche.
With arrows before, we've seen that they've got obviously catapults and war machines. I think there's another one in there with a two-handed sword where there isn't, other than maybe a few of the character kits that accompany.
Il y a pas de.
There aren't any Ossiarchs.
Il y a pas de corde à son arc.
There's some weapon combinations in this warband that are unique to this currently.
I wagered with Raph before we started that somebody would ask me a question about base sizes, and I had the answer all prepped, and I've just had the one base size related question I don't have the answer to, which is Mir Kanan on a 50mm base? I'm guessing it's a 40, but I don't know. So you'll just have to guess.
Ouais, ça ressemble à un 40mm, effectivement. Je pense que t'avais raison, Gab. Parce que eux sont sur du 25 ou peut-être du 28 pour ce warband-là. Là. Parce que on la voit, vous la voyez pas, mais la base du dude à gauche ici a l'air plus petite que ces dudes-là. Fait que eux, c'est peut-être du 28. Oups. Whoops, whoops, whoops! Oh no.
You haven't Warhammer.
Okay.
Have you done many of the warbands yourself, Eddie?
So what I've done is in my head. That's what I'd love to do. I'm like, oh, what a great chance to paint up some beautiful models.
They show speed.
So
I know.
every single one of
I know.
Warhammer Underworld's warbands in, assembled but not painted. The only ones I think I've actually painted are the Stormcast and the Skaven from the very first edition. But certainly in my head there is this plan that at some point I will go through all the various races of Warhammer Age of Sigmar without needing to paint a whole army of them, using the Warhammer Underworlds kits, just as they tend to be just really nice archetypal examples of the faction, and I think that this is another great example of that. All of the ones so far have been as well.
Ouais, c'est ça, au moins ça s'est fait là.
Left to reveal for this season of Warhammer Underworlds as well. So
This is number 7 then.
this is Warband 7 of the season 4. That's right. So there's a lot of warbands at this point. But the last of them is looks pretty interesting to me. So we've seen a little silhouette of it in a preview previously, and I'm quite excited about that. Yeah,
I feel like well, that's quite interesting. I don't know what it is. Maybe the chat can fill me in if they've seen it. I just want to look back on the thing we were saying about painting the warbands you painted. I use them as nice palette cleansers.
Ouais, c'est sûr qu'il reste du stock à montrer encore, là.
A Fire Slayer army, but I picked up the Fire Slayers to do, and I used contrast paint to them to do them super quick, and it was just an evening of fun for me. And then I painted the squigs out of the warband with all the
painting squigs is always a good use of time.
Oh yeah, quite. But you know, take what you will from that. Right, let's line ourselves up for our next reveal if we can, Raph, and we'll get ready to go over and see what's new and exciting.
So, something new for Necromunda, fire coming from the Underhive. Adam, what did we just see?
Well, what you see here is hot new warband.
Ouais, le stock Age of Sigmar est terminé.
The House of Faith and the Redemption Crusade. They are
Nice.
and they're an offshoot of House Cawdor.
Dude avec l'acier. On a quand même eu des bons wow et des oh! C'est vrai. C'est vrai. Moi, je veux retourner voir la vidéo de Kragnos. Je veux revoir je veux revoir de quoi il a l'air exactement. On va aller le voir tout de suite, guys. Oui, c'est ce que je veux voir. On va mettre le stream en background. On va aller sur Warhammer Community. Ça, faut le fermer. Ici. On l'a ici.
I was buried in the mountain, trapped under the rock. I have escaped my prison, but my people are gone.
Ça fait très centaure. Que des ruines. C'est un People est gone. Tu montreras la photo de Orion aussi. This dude, t'en as un peu. Photo de Orion. Pourquoi je peux pas? I can't show it. Je peux pas grossir. Mais le doute que tu Orion, tu parlais de lui. Pourquoi je peux pas la grossir? Something's not working. En tout cas, vous le voyez là. Sorry, je suis pas capable de... Oh, 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 oh. Oh. Ok. Ce dude là, c'était Orion, right? Les armes font pas très Beastman, non, j'avoue. Pas des runes chaotiques. Fait que ça reste un mystère. Check lui de Total War. Tu veux dire Orion Total War? Orion Total War. C'est ce dude-là. Ok. Ok. Mais il n'y avait pas 4 pattes. Effectivement. Il n'est pas pareil. Alors que ce dude-là... Les cornes sont... Ouais, puis comme tu dis, Saline, les cornes sont différentes. Tu sais, il a vraiment changé un shield de même, une masse. Son weapon est une masse. C'est clairement un centaure. Dur à dire. Je pense que nos meilleurs guests, c'est soit du nouveau Kernotty. Peut-être Kernotty dans cette direction-là. Ou peut-être même Beast of Chaos. Mais c'est... Tu sais, ces dessins-là, comme ça, des fois, sont pas, on voit pas bien non plus les runes ou whatever qui sont ancrées dans le modèle. Est-ce que ça peut être un nouveau héros, Beast of Chaos? Je sais pas. Mais, non. Puis, comme tu dis, c'est ça, Gab, comme tu dis, Moratti t'es pas un grand serpent non plus. Tu sais, oui, ça peut être Orion réincarné ou... dur à voir, là. Kragnos. Well, ok. Eux sont rendus où? Sont encore là-dessus? Le livre est sa coche. Le livre est vraiment sa coche. Honnêtement, là. Fellbats. Les zombies! Brains. Oh, wait, recule. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a? Qu'est-ce que j'ai manqué? Non! Ok. J'ai-tu manqué quelque chose? T'as dit recule. We're here. Les ruines. On voit un soleil. J'ai hâte de voir quelle faction, vraiment. Ça doit être une nouvelle faction, carrément. Ou Beast of Chaos. Rendu là. Je sais pas. I don't know. Il y a 2 Rumor Engine qui me font penser à lui. Ok. Si tu veux les linker dans le chat, on ira les voir. Zombies. Très cool. Le cerveau qui drop ici. Un centigare, maybe. Il est gros, par exemple, pour un centigare, non? « 2021-02-02 » Rumor Engine. Où est-ce qu'on peut voir toutes les Rumor Engine? Je vais chercher plutôt. 20, 21, 02, 18. Lui, il les a toutes mis là, peut-être. Elle l'a pas non plus. I don't have it. Damn it! Ah! 0202. Ça ici? Les trinkets qui descendent de son shield ici, là. Les genres de petits trinkets qui sont là. Pourrait ressembler à ça. J'avoue, j'avoue. Puis l'autre que t'as... Celui-là ici. Ça pourrait être direct sur un shield, ça. Peut-être. Peut-être pas lui non plus, ou sa masse. C'est peut-être pas ce dude-là, mais ça fait un peu le même style. Au début du vidéo, tu vois ces objets.
I was buried in the mountain, trapped under the rock. I have escaped my prison, but my people...
Ok. Cool. Bien hâte de voir. Bien hâte de voir. Yes, nouveau starter set de Necromunda.
Like a week where you play lots of stuff or regular gaming.
So okay.
It's a very satisfying experience if you're kind of expanding your gang and adding members and that sort of stuff. That's the way to get the best out of it. But also just a really fun, satisfying set.
Ouais, tu m'as envoyé l'image du Warband de Kernati, ouais.
So before we move on, there's a question from BFG Hunter, which I quite like, which is, what are your favourite Necromunda gangs? Eddie, do you have a favourite?
The Esches. I love the Escher models.
Really?
They're just beautiful. Yeah. I think when the plastics came out, I was like, yeah, that's my gang. I also just as a painter, generally I paint super ludicrous, colourful.
Ouais, peut-être qu'il fait partie des Kernati, effectivement. Who knows? Who knows? Ouais, exact. Les experts de Rumor Engine sur TGA. Ils vont craquer le code. Ils vont craquer le code.
Fighting crude. Work to do, no time for crawling in the dirt. Hypothesis. Is Qatari fit to fight? Perhaps to lead? Modifications needed. Needs arms to direct troops. 4. No arms valuable. Data suggests fondness for blunt objects. Analysis. Illogical but efficient. Thunderhammer. Weight exceeded. Control stave, perhaps? Yes. Design parameters acceptable. Upload command data and commence field testing.
So, the chat had some people requesting could they have some Adeptus Mechanicus stuff, and here we are with
Okay.
it. Give us the lowdown.
Battletome Adeptus Mechanicus. En tout cas, Broken Ram se focus sur les elfes normalement. Évidemment, Belacor est là pour contredire. Ouais, à date, oui. On en a 2 qui vont être focus sur les elfes. Confirmé en tout cas. Pour le reste, ça reste à voir. Hein.
Send off to either lead a formation or a mission, or maybe one of the smaller armies. He's got a little bit more autonomy than some of the other Skitarii might have. A capable warrior.
Skitarii.
But the real thing for your army is
Le Skitarii.
Skitarii give them spectre abilities. Obviously, he can carry relics. He can handle himself in a fight. The miniature is just really cool. It's probably the coolest looking Skitarii miniature we've seen. And I think the thing that I particularly like about the model, there's lots of hints on there to some of the really old.
Il reste juste le stock 40k. Mais je veux quand même voir la fin du preview parce que des fois ils nous sortent un petit announcement caché à la fin complètement. Who knows?
Yeah, you know, this guy is not your tier 1 close combat or even range attack killer. His purpose is to coordinate these Skitarii ranks around him, but he's still got his control.
Oh, one more thing, ouais, c'est ça, exact. Mais je pense qu'on a quand même vu le gros du stock Age of Sigmar related.
Which the Skitarii can be. This guy is the supervisor that you need. Yeah, and as for his servo skull friend, I play an absolute sucker for a servo skull on my model, and that is the great example of it.
I think one of the things that's really interesting about the Adeptus Mechanicus is a lot of really weird and unusual ways you can build that army. So you've got you can have whole armies of like Castellan robots and go really robot heavy. You can have lots of weird and wonderful machines and vehicles. But one of the ways you can absolutely build an Adeptus Mechanicus army is a fairly traditional infantry and cavalry force. With, like,
Yes, merci Jason.
and if that's
Bonne journée.
that kind of like almost metronomic ancient legion sort of style, and a lot of the aesthetic of the Skitarii hints back to things like ancient Roman legionnaires and stuff like that. And you like the idea of like blocks of troops moving forward with individual commanders in amongst them. This is a great model to add to your collection. It helps that kind of army work basically.
Yeah, there's something I really like about the sort of Skitarii aesthetic as well, where he's got that crest reminiscent of the sort of the horsehead crests that ancient Roman soldiers would have, and then he's got like a lovely frock coat complete with its buttons. There's something really great about the whole.
There's a lot of archetypes overlapping on that one, aren't there? I think the face on it's really cool for me because most of the Skitarii, if you think about the ones we've seen so far, they have flat visor face, or they have the ranger face, which looks quite kind of scouty. He definitely looks like he's going to shout at you. Like he's got like a vox grill there on the front. He looks like he means business. He's got a kind of tactical analysis, optical eye thing going on. A lot about what that character is in the Skitarii army is captured just in the head of the miniature alone compared to the rest of the range, which is just really clever miniature design, really. Which I think.
Yeah, I agree. Groovy vibe, and I love the fact that Duck Toys said he has a tactical.
Il leur reste beaucoup de codex à sortir à 40k pour avoir complété, pour avoir fait le tour des factions dans la nouvelle édition?
Let's go with the cover being super rad. It's probably actually because it's got some literal rad weapons on the cover there. So the Adeptus Mechanicus are like, it's easy to forget sometimes if you've been into Warhammer 40,000 for a long time. They're just super weird. They're like really, really creepy weird. And this cover captures that wonderfully. So theoretically, you've got effectively a human in there somewhere.
Foutrement, là, ok. Il en reste encore pas mal. Le reste du clock, on est juste 38 minutes in the preview. Le reste du stock, c'est clair, effectivement. On va voir ce qui s'en vient.
coming out of his back. He's got a bunch of servo skulls. He seems to have a tiny secondary tech priest tucked under the robes at the front there. It's just super weird. And the miniature range for the Adeptus Mechanicus captures a lot of that stuff, but it's also really nice to see it captured in just a beautiful piece of artwork for the Codex cover.
For sure. So in terms of the new Codex, Eddie, what can we expect?
So the new Codex follows the pattern that we've seen for a lot of the new Warhammer 40,000 codexes. So this will be familiar to people who've been following along with what's happening with this edition so far. So one of the biggest things all of the new codexes have brought is Crusade rules, which is really exciting. So effectively allowing you to tie your narrative games with Warhammer 40,000 together. And as you would expect, a lot of the Adeptus Mechanicus Crusade rules are about things like acquiring technology. So they'll be off either kind of exploring Xenos relics or kind of trying to trudge through ancient, looking for STCs, the ancient ruins and that sort of stuff. So there's quite a compelling narrative there for why the Adeptus Mechanicus would be on Crusade. They're often trying to search...
Eldar, Harlequin, Chaos, Space Marine, Demon of Chaos, Green Knight, Adeptus Sororitas, Imperial Knight, Chaos Knight, Nids, Astromilitarum. Ok! Ouf!
Is a lot of changes to the way that army works. So the general themes that we've seen for the new edition...
Ils ont du stock encore. Ils ont du stock encore.
Weapons deadlier, and that is true of the Adeptus Mechanicus book as well. So a lot of the guns in the army, a lot of the guns across Warhammer 40,000...
Jouer à 40k, je sais pas quelle faction je prendrais.
Things like heavy bolters got a bit better, flamers got a bit better, plasma guns got a bit better.
Et les sous-codex des chapitres Space Marines, ouais, il y a du stock, moi ça arrête plus, je comprends. Je sais pas, parce que je jouerais jamais à 40k, jamais compétitif, ça m'intéresse zéro pin barre. Mais avoir une force, admettons, de 40k pour faire du kill team ou whatever, je sais pas quelle faction me titillerait au niveau des modèles et du lore et ainsi de suite. Probablement pas des Space Marines. On va régler ça tout de suite. Probablement pas des Space Marines. Armies of the Imperium, K1 Custos, Mechanicus. Mechanicus sont cool, là. Ils sont quand même spéciaux. Le niveau des compétitions dépend. Non, c'est ça, exact. Le jeu est super... Je suis très conscient de ça. Mais c'est le genre de jeu, je veux dire que je me lancerai pas là, profondément dans la scène compétitive puis savoir tous les détails. Là. C'est le genre de jeu que si je joue, ça va être du casual kill team puis j'ai pas envie d'avoir une armée de 2000 points non plus. Là, c'est juste ça que je voulais dire. Adeptus Mechanicus, je les haïs pas. On va fermer le clapet un petit peu. Armies of the Imperium, Imperial Knights, c'est les gros robots, ça, right? On va starter une crusade Québec. Ouais, mais c'est 500 points jusqu'à 2000. Je vais pas me laisser embarquer là-dedans. That's too much. Armies of the Imperium, Inquisition, c'est ça, ok. Armies of Chaos, les démons, Chaos Knights, Chaos Space Marines, Dead Guard, Thousand Suns. Thousand Suns, j'ai toujours beaucoup aimé Zinj, mais... Zinj Space Marines... C'est des Space Marines, pareil. Je pense que jouer 40k, ça serait du Xenos que je jouerais. Rendu là, Xenos Armies. 7 modèles, tu as 2000 points, genre... Dans les Knights, ouais, j'avoue. Le nombre de points de ta liste dépend du nombre de games que tu rajoutes. Ok. T'as un peu de jouer des games. Ok, je comprends. Bon, vois-tu. Peut-être que ce sera quelque chose que je pourrais au moins participer. Craft Worlds, c'est quoi? C'est des elfes, ça, right? Craft World. Ah, les Custodes, tu parlais, Saline. Ok, je comprends. Mais Craft Worlds. Drukhari, c'est les Dark Elves. Dark Elves sont cool. Pas tous les modèles. Mais, finalement non. Oups. Le nouveau tank des Sisters est malade. On l'a raté, guys. On va le revoir.
Yeah, so this is a brand new battle tank for the forces of the Sisters of Battle. This is the Sisters of Battle Adeptus Sororitas Castigator tank, which those of you who are familiar with your Warhammer 40,000 STCs, as required by the Scholar Progenium standard reading, will recognize that this is based on a Rhino chassis, much like most of the other weapons battle tanks of the Adeptus Sororitas, but this is very definitely a line battle tank. So compared to things like the Rhinos and other transport that they have, this is packing a lot more firepower. So you can see it's 3 heavy bolters plus a main battle cannon on the top there. And just a really cool extra new piece of heavy kit.
Un prédateur église. Un rhino avec des gogos, sister.
My word, this is fantastic. Yeah, essentially what we have here is following on the time-honored tradition of using the ubiquitous Rhino as the faceplate for...
Gene Stealer Colts, ça c'est les dudes qui vénèrent les tyrannides, hein? J'haïs pas. Je pense que ça vaut, j'ai déjà un stock de démons pour iOS. Ouais, c'est sûr que tu peux utiliser des démons. Niveau démon, j'ai seulement du Zinch, mais ça se fait, non? Ça se fait, c'est clair. Mais tant qu'à jouer 40k, je me dis tout aussi bien d'avoir des modèles dédiés 40k. Gene Stealer Colts, il y avait les Harlequins, qui sont des elfes un peu bizarres, right? Tu veux pas collectionner les Gene Stealer Colts casually, sont genre 22$ par point. Ok! Ça règle le problème. Ça existe déjà des prédateurs dans les églises. Ouf! C'est pas du monde qui veut dans les tyrannides, c'est des agents des tyrannides qui préparent les planètes à être envahis. Ouais, mais j'avais lu là-dessus, pis t'as le dude qui est là pis qui convertit le monde, genre, mais les Gene Stealer Cult, le culte des gens, au final, ils pensent qu'ils vont être libérés par les tyrannides quand ils vont se pointer, pis ils se rendent compte à la dernière minute que finalement les tyrannides sont juste là pour genre les bouffer pis tout, là. Fait qu'ils les vénèrent quand même aussi, là. Mais écoute, je suis vraiment pas le pro lore 40k, donc ce que tu me dis, je vais le prendre comme du cash. Une armée d'or joue orc. Orc. Les orc boys. J'aime pas les orques du futur, malheureusement. Moi, dans ma tête, des orques, c'est très primitif. Ils sont trop vieux. Je vois Xa avec des taux. Ben, on n'était pas rendu au taux, mais taux, j'ai toujours aimé leur look. De ce que je comprends bien, tu te fais regarder de travers quand tu joues taux à 40k. Mais si tu joues casual, j'imagine qu'il n'y a pas de trop. Ils sont où les taux? Taux Empire. Les gros robots de même, c'est quand même sa coche, là. Si tu joues tôt pain là en Gundam, s'il vous plaît. Je dis pas non, c'est pas mon premier choix. Pogne Admec disait tu peux pas avoir plus que 40k. Ouais, j'avoue. Ouais, Adeptus Mechanicus sont quand même dans le top. À date. Qu'est-ce qu'on a pas vu? Oh. Ah, on va juste regarder la vidéo puis on revient aux armées 40K après.
Right, boys, listen up. In the beginning,
Oh, en parlant d'orques.
needed some fighty lads, so they did some stuff, and their orcs appeared. Some of them were runts, but there was lots of boys too. Some of them were big, and some of them were weird, but they was all mean and green.
Des squigs?
Except the red ones. And the biggest and greenest get around is the big boss. And we's gotta listen to him, cause he's taking us on the great war. That's where all the best fighting is. We's gonna use all the shiny new trucks and shooters to crump down. You what? We don't need that junk. Shut up, you git. As I was saying, the other lads have their shinies and their know-whats, but they don't know how to use them proper. Not like us. We's got our stickers and our squigs. We's gonna drag them down and crump them good, with hands and teeth and all that fancy truck gubbins.
Y a-tu des squigs dans 40K aussi?
We're the biggest and we're the strongest in any clan we're in. Saddle up, beast snaggers. The war's coming.
So the best things in Warhammer 40,000 are clearly green. Eddie, do you have anything you'd like to say on this topic? I know you're excited.
I could not be more excited about this, Adam. I am super excited. This is the thing that I've been looking forward to, hoping everyone would see really soon. There is some cool orc stuff on its way, and we saw the first hints of it there in that little preview.
Toi qui disais justement que t'aimais pas le techno.
Look at it, isn't it?
C'est sûr que ça fait moins techno, effectivement.
I mean, everything Warhammer does is awesome, but this is a particularly awesome example of some of the stuff that's coming up. I am an absolutely enormous fan of anything that is squig flavored, and these guys absolutely scratch the my biggest Warhammer itch. This is a beast snagger orc, and this particular gentleman is a.
Ouais, clairement. Ça va se faire acheter pour des conversions EOS, clairement, là. Tu peux faire des Gore Grunta avec ça. Sur Squig, c'est quand même très badass.
That is a big, beefy looking orc on the back of him, and there's even a grot hanging off the side there with a chopper. So there is some very cool stuff coming for orcs. This is the shape of it, and I'm pretty excited. So a few more things to talk about.
C'est pas des cochons, c'est des cochons avec un K.
A type of orc we haven't seen before. They are absolutely dedicated to hunting down big, scary stuff. So they find monsters and tanks and even titans and stuff, and see if they can take them down. A kind of nomadic force within the orcish war. They're big and tough, as you'd imagine, because they've got to kind of take down big, scary things and kind of harpoon monsters and try and bring them down. And they think that any problem can be solved with the application of the right kind of squig, which is absolutely a philosophy I can get on board.
Yeah. I mean, what's not to love? It's kind of an insane combination.
Faut se voir parler l'orque, moi.
A shark? Is that fair?
Yeah, for sure.
Fuck 40K, une nouvelle armée EOS. Non, mais c'est pas... By the way, je peux pas me permettre une nouvelle armée EOS. Pas avec l'achat d'une maison qu'on est en train de faire. Ça, c'est numéro 1. Numéro 2, 40K, ça serait jamais plus que une petite... très petite faction d'armée, là, tu sais, Kill Team ou Game à 500 points, je ne veux pas m'embarquer plus gros que ça si un jour je commence à prendre le 40K. On le dira pas à ta fin. Faut pas y dire, ça c'est sûr. Ok, cool. J'ai-tu d'autres Xenos armés que j'ai pas regardé? Tyrannide? Admex. Arrête! Je sais, je les aime pas, les Admec. I know. Tyrannide. J'haïs pas Tyrannide. J'ai toujours... ça fait très feel Zerg dans StarCraft. Fait que ça, j'ai toujours aimé ce style-là du Swarm. Hein? Armée de Horde aussi, les Nids. Xavier, ça sonne Tech Priest déjà. Tech Priest Xavier. Prime. Lord. Tech Priest Lord Xavier. Ok. Ok. Necron, je sais pas, regardez. Juste à cause qu'il y a des X dans son nom, ça fait pas de lui un être plus techno. And yet... tu regardes ce qu'il y a dans le use et tu fais ton choix dans ça. C'est une autre bonne tactique, effectivement. Necron, j'haïs pas. Je sais qu'ils sont rendus très mainstream maintenant parce que c'était le nouveau starter kit pis tout, là. Mais j'haïs pas. Oh, eux autres, ils terminent. Ils ont-tu un petit dernier reveal?
Right, should we sign off?
Absolutely, yeah. I think you pretty much covered it well there, Adam. But it's always a pleasure. Looking forward to another future Saturday with you where we can see some more cool Warhammer stuff. And I think I'm off to put a few more layers of highlights on this squig, who might have some friends soon.
And I have an appointment with an N. Right, everybody, you're the best. Have a lovely Saturday, and we'll see you again very soon.
That's it. Nothing. Rien d'autre. It's done. On va remettre ça plus gros. Voilà. Qu'est-ce que vous dites là? On va pouvoir se faire une game à 1000 points et apprendre à jouer ensemble. Je peux encore jouer avec mes Death Watch. Peux jouer avec ça là. Ok, Necron, l'armée la plus cheap à starter. Ah bon, ok. Oh là là. J'ai-tu oublié du monde dans les Xenos? Thor, Orc, Necron, Harlequin... Inari, c'est quoi ça, Inari? C'est des elfes aussi? Ah, c'est tout? Inari? On n'aura pas de gros post-show, t'as une game dans 33 minutes. On a fait un pré-show du... Ouais, c'est ça. C'est des Eldar, ça? Ok. Non, je dirais que les deux top contenders à date, c'est Admec. Admec, Necron, Tau. Ce serait pas mal dans les tops qui me titilleraient. Mais ça, ça reste à voir éventuellement. Peut-être. On n'est pas rendu là. Non, mais pour ce qui est du post-show, guys, on a pas mal vu tantôt là, ce qui est sorti, mais good stuff. Tôt ou tard, tu vas finir par jouer Get Out. Come on. On va fermer leur stream là. Tu sais, quand même cool là, les Soul Blight là. On a vu vraiment du beau stock là, sérieux là. Bon, le Vampire Lord, on l'avait déjà vu Les Death Rattle Skeletons, moi je les trouve nice. C'est sûr que c'est peut-être pas pour tout le monde qui soit maintenant en armure. Les zombies, je pense qu'ils font quand même l'unanimité, sont très très cool. Fellbats aussi, j'ai rien à redire contre les Fellbats, sont vraiment ça coche. Ça, d'autres là, on l'avait vu. Ouais, les zombies sont vraiment nice. Le White King, on l'avait vu, très très cool. Les Blood Knights, maybe? Blood Knights sont vraiment sa coche. Pour vrai, là. Je pense que c'est mon préféré de ce que j'ai vu aujourd'hui. Les Blood Knights, très cool. Très très cool. Fait que ça, c'était bien. Au moins, en savoir un peu plus sur l'armée. On a aussi le Battle Tome. Les Blood Knights sont là. Le Battle Tome qui s'en vient. Ouh. Donc, très très cool. Bye, Matt. À plus. Puis, finalement, on a vu aussi le petit teaser. Qu'on n'est pas certain c'est quoi encore. Ils vont sûrement dire que ça remplace la Legion of Nagash. Oui, d'après moi, il va se passer quelque chose avec Broken Realms Teclis qui va peut-être faire tomber Nagash pour le moment. Temporairement ou pour plus longtemps, je sais pas. Puis on a les Kanan's Reaper qui étaient quand même assez meh, sauf Kanan. I guess que ça fait pas mal le tour pour nos reviews de ce matin. Fait que, guys, gros merci d'avoir été là encore une fois ce matin. Ça a été un show un peu plus long, mais ça a été très cool quand même pour jaser avec vous tous. Si c'est pas déjà fait, lâchez-moi un petit follow sur Twitch. Pour ceux qui nous regardent sur YouTube, un petit subscribe, c'est gratuit, ou un like aussi, et ça encourage beaucoup le channel. Donc, un gros merci à vous, et je vous retrouve pour le prochain épisode du Double Tour, mardi soir, avec deux invités. On va parler du showcase. Donc, le showcase qui va avoir lieu au Grand Clash en juillet. Donc, je reçois Danick et Jean, il me semble, son nom, qui est l'un des juges aussi. Donc, on va venir parler du showcase et qu'est-ce qu'on peut s'attendre à voir là durant le Grand Clash. Donc, c'est à ne pas manquer, mardi soir qui s'en vient. Premier live, je suis happy, merci d'être matinal. Oui, on va essayer d'en faire plus souvent des lives matinales. Les games, des fois, je les faisais le matin aussi. Pour nos amis en France, de l'autre côté de l'Atlantique, c'est très utile, c'est très pratique pour eux. Fait que, on va revenir là-dessus. Fait que moi, j'ai un match au Bastion qui m'attend de Warhammer. Alors, je vous souhaite tous une excellente journée. Et je vous dis à la prochaine. Bye bye!